U.S. President Donald Trump and Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta held talks at the White House, with both leaders focused on strengthening cooperation on security and trade. Kenya is the third highest recipient of U.S. security aid in sub-Saharan Africa. International affairs analyst Calvin Dark joins us live via Skype from Washington, D.C. to discuss the development. Thank you for finding time to join us.
Thank you.
Now, this is the third African president to meet with Trump in the White House. Now, there are some who would say the body language of the U.S. president towards African leaders hasn't been that pleasant. Remember the Shito controversy, and just recently, the derogatory comments he allegedly made as regards the Nigerian president. What do you make of the U.S.-African relations under President Donald Trump?
Well, I believe that overall the visit with President Kenyatta was a success in that there were clear objectives and at least the words that both leaders said after their meeting and right before. They said the right things, but for the larger picture of what you said, U.S.-Africa relations, it's clear that President Trump's administration doesn't really have a clear policy in Africa, and the derogatory comments that he's made recently and back in January only reinforce that the president doesn't really understand Africa, and many, including myself, thinks that it's not really the priority that it should be.
Now, how will this trip bring about a broadened strategic partnership between the two countries, saying that they already have a strong relation that comes way back?
Well, I think that there are two potential areas of growth that make this attractive for President Trump and his administration. One is partnering with Kenya is very key to tackling terrorism in the region in East Africa. That could affect U.S. interests, and that's high on President Trump's agenda. Secondly, as you know, he has waged a war with China, a trade war. And he also believes that China is not being as helpful as it could be in the denuclearization of North Korea. So trying to pull Kenya back a little bit from its very heavy deepening relationships with China is a win for President Trump because he can try to use that in his Chinese negotiations.
We didn't hear much about democracy, issues of election transparency, as well as human rights, just as these issues were not also raised when President Trump met with Kim Jong-un earlier. Why do you think this is so?
Well, I think I'll tell you why it's so, but I just first want to say it's very unfortunate. I think it's for two reasons. One is President Trump has shown that he doesn't value human rights, democracy, elections, transparency like he should, like an American president should. And his own actions here in the United States take away his credibility to speak on the issue here and with foreign leaders. So I do think that that is an unfortunate turn that President Trump has made that I hope will be fixed very soon.
Now, about $238 million worth of projects will be invested in Kenya. What do you see? How much improvement is this going to make for the country?
Well, I think there are a lot of potential, particularly highway projects. And I think that it is great for Kenya to deepen relationships with U.S. companies that already do business in Kenya and those who would like to do business. And of course, the Trump administration said this could potentially affect thousands of American jobs. Now, will that all come to fruition? I hope so, but there's a lot of, as we say, devil in the details, and our president is not too keen on following up. He's big on making the big announcements, but then it usually kind of putters out. So it's going to be up to President Kenyatta and Kenya to follow up, make sure they get the benefits of these deals now.
Well, international affairs analyst Calvin Dark, many thanks for your time on the News Hour.
Thank you.